The moment is now. Are you ready?
Let's play Armis. Okay, the computer chooses to switch positions. I have the first move. Let's see here. Right, with this Marine here, 1, 2, 3, I can go here and still be covered. His helicopter's here, 1, 2, 3, 4. Jet is here, going in this direction. Alright, so I'm pretty safe. It's just when I want to get in here, I should make sure that there's either no landing spaces or, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5, or if I'm here, I'm safe. So I should not go into this spot here, but this spot is okay. Okay, let's bring the mover back so I can push in the submarine. I gotta tell you, I really don't know why my opponent chose to move the Marine on land in this area. I can see why not wanting to put it on coastal waters because of my Coast Guard, but this is pretty close. And even though my aircraft carrier is here, and it's essentially blocking my president from capturing the Marine, it's still kind of close. It's not something I think I would have done if I was on the other side. Now, my thought is to put my sub over here to get it into the Eastern Sea, and then try to find a way to board the submarine either with my Marine or to use it as a bridge for my president to go from this side to that side, just going across it. Alright, now before I can do the submarine move, well, let's take a look at that. Yeah, the Coast Guard is being threatened by both of my opponent's Marines. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2. My Marines, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, is also providing double coverage. So if my opponent attempts to, or chooses to take my Coast Guard, he will start it and I will end it, which will mean that my Marine will be, I will have one Marine left and my opponent would have no Marines if my opponent chooses to take the Coast Guard and then follow through with using his other Marine to take my Marine. I'm glad it didn't happen that way. Now with his Army here and his Marine here, these are the only two spaces that this Army can go. So I still have a little bit of time to put my president here, which could threaten the Army in a straight line. Wow. I'm disappointed that that the computer chose to take my Coast Guard, because again I will end up being up with one piece, whereas the computer will have no Marines and I'll have one Marine. Now with this with this space open, the Army can actually go this way. So my president, anything done with my president which can only move straight, it would be less effective. So the best way to take this Army would be with my Marine. And so I can take it directly where it's at right now, but chances are it will move out of range, and so I will have to board my submarine basically to trap it. Now the best thing for my opponent to do is to use the vice president to go over here, and in that way both the Army and the vice president will have mutual coverage. Alright, I don't know why that was done. I really don't. But for now, let's get the Army, and then I will likely go back on board the submarine, and I'll leave the VP alone because it's covered by the president. The Coast Guard. Alright, let me just indicate that my opponent has lost 2 Marines and 1 Army, which makes it 3 military gone. So at this point, my opponent's nuke is armed. Right now, my nuke is unarmed because I only have 2 my military pieces that were taken. There needs to be 3 to fulfill the prerequisite for arming the nuke. So right now my opponent's nuke is armed. On its turn, it could activate as long as it's more than 2 spaces away from its own flag. So I have to be aware of that. And let's see here. So I'm going to try to use my child to capture or break my opponent's nuke. Even if my opponent chose to put its VP here, which is not likely, but if it chose to do that, I would choose not to go back on board the sub. I would choose to go around here in one of these 2 boxes, 1, 2, 3 spaces away, outside of my opponent's nuke's blast zone. So now with this here, I'm using my sub 1, 2, 3, 4 as a bridge for my child to capture the nuke. Now my Marine pretty much can go down here and just focus on specific pieces as opposed to the blast zone of the nuke. Okay, so now with the my opponent's Coast Guard here, jet here, and helicopter here, I basically have to be mindful of those pieces. The Coast Guard can move 2 spaces, so it can only go here or here. Oh, I'm sorry, 1, 2, here or here. but my Marine can go 3 spaces, so it can go 1, 2, 3. So right now, neither one are threatening the other. The reach, the full reach of the Marine is 3 spaces, 1, 2, 3, so it can go here. And at that point, the helicopter can't do anything because it can only do 2 or 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and that's a water space, so it can't land there. And my Marine would be out of the path of the jet, which is this way or that way or even this way. So it can't do anything. But at the same time, or for me that is, I am threatening my opponent's, very many of my opponent's pieces, but the one I have particular focus on is the reserve. And as you can see, the reserve is surrounded by other pieces, so unless my opponent does some form of friendly fire, it's not going to be able to get to my Marine. And right now, the way this is set up, there's nothing that can do friendly fire onto the pieces that are surrounding my Marine. So the game is basically over. Thanks for watching, and have a good day.
It will capture your heart and your mind. Let the whole world see us through your eyes. Land, air, and sea victory.